Gather round, people, gather round, gather round, gather round. Welcome to Jamaica Worldwide. And today, we're counting down the top 10 most popular reggae albums of all time in Jamaica. And when we say in Jamaica, we mean in Jamaica. This list may or may not contain albums considered to be the best reggae albums in the world, as it is not based on sales but popularity. Even though Jamaica is the birthplace of reggae, it's a general talking point that what is considered to be the best reggae albums in the world are not necessarily popular in Jamaica. And in some cases, some of the world's greatest reggae albums are virtually unknown in Jamaica. Much respects to albums like Funky Kingston by Toots and the Maytals and Catch a Fire by the Wailers. But these albums will not be on this list, although widely considered to be two of the best reggae albums of all time. Speaking of Wailers, we will be doing this list without including internationally acclaimed reggae superstar Bob Marley and the Wailers for obvious reasons. This list would probably need a top 30 or something. Anyway, before we begin, you can leave comments as to compilations you'd like us to do, and please remember to subscribe and like the video. This would help us out very much. That being said, here are the top 10 most popular reggae albums in Jamaica. Let's go. Number 10. Tarrus Riley, Parables. Tarrus Riley burst onto the scene in Jamaica as a formidable act with his second studio effort titled Parables. The album set the tone for reggae music at the time and gave a new birth to reggae with his smash hit She's Royal. The album gave new focus to family and African roots with songs like Africa Waits, Something Strong, and the cover of Stay With You, originally by John Legend. The strength of the album showed in its ability to bring forward the artist who was not as popular locally before release, but instantly became a household name due to this body of work. The mere fact that the work actually spoke for him, that earns the album a place on this list. Number 9. Tanya Stephens, Gangsta Blues. It's a pity Tanya Stephens wasn't more celebrated for her talents before this actual album. Like Tarrus Riley, this album put Tanya Stephens on a higher status of reverence in reggae and dancehall scene in Jamaica, and is considered one of her most definitive works. The Gangsta Blues album was a masterpiece and established Tanya Stephens' dominance as a writer and performer. This album is a classic and one of those albums that defined a period of time in Jamaica due to it constantly being heard across Jamaica, along the roadsides and streets and in buses all around. It was everywhere at the time of its release. Still is a classic album today, and that earns it number 9 on this list. Number 8. The Heptones, On Top. This album, simply titled On Top. This album is arguably one of the best reggae albums of all time. The album is definitive of the roots reggae era, and almost every track has had its version reused on countless other hits and albums subsequent to its release. It wouldn't be surprising that at least one song on the albums being listed here has reused a version from the album. The Heptones are widely regarded as the greatest trio from that era, and this album is an exemplary piece of work. Very, very good from start to finish. Most, if not all, songs on the album are just bona fide classics. Number 7. Damien Jr. Gang Marley. Welcome to Jamrock. No doubt, Damien Jr. Gang Marley has improved and in fact done better albums since Welcome to Jamrock. But in terms of a fan favorite among Jamaicans, no other album demands as much acclaim as Welcome to Jamrock. The title track alone took the world by storm, but the other songs as well as collaborations with international acts were very well received. This album is a classic, and even though it has been bettered by the artist, it remains one of Junior Gang Marley's most recognized efforts. You know the gang name did have to reach panelists some way, somehow. Well, Damien Junior Gang Marley, who has continuously put out hits on top of hits, definitely delivered with Welcome to Jamrock. Number 6. Sizzla, Black Woman and Child. There is only one way to describe Sizzla's Black Woman and Child album. Timeless. Released in September of 1996, the songs from this album are mostly classics and still favorites to Jamaicans to this day. Sizzla continuously gains new fans, and this album usually a favorite among enthusiasts. Its most popular tracks include One Away, No Time to Gaze, Give Them a Ride, and of course the title track Black Woman and Child is an absolute classic. Sizzla is known for putting out albums on top of albums. Sizzla probably have over 100 albums right now. People lose count. But Black Woman and Child is one of those albums that's very special. Another one I would like to give an honorable mention is Taking Over. But Black Woman and Child, he did this album just at the start of his career. I think it may be his second album, and it is definitely a masterpiece, and that gives the album Black Woman and Child a place on this list. Number 5. Chronixx, Chronology. Chronixx, who at the time of releasing this album was considered to be the next great reggae act, did not disappoint. The Grammy-nominated Chronology album has something for everyone and plays very well from start to finish. It showcases Jamaica in a variety of angles, which are equally charming and controversial. The album actually caps off a very good run from the moment he got the hit song Behind Curtain up until this album. It has been a very consistent in terms of delivery of music and the delivery of his message. It is no surprise that Chronology has ended up on this list as one of Jamaica's most beloved reggae albums. Number 4. Luciano, Where There Is Life. Luciano's Where There Is Life is considered one of the most inspirational reggae albums by Jamaicans. Therefore, it is the go-to for a lot of Jamaicans. Tracks such as Lord Give Me Strength and He's My Friend from the album make it a perfect album for those Sunday mornings when you just want to bless up the place, when you just want to sit on the veranda, smoke a spliff or you drink your coffee or whatever it is you like to do on a Sunday, it is the album for that. In some ways, it kind of doubles as a kind of gospel album in a sense. In any case, this is a great album by a great artist who was even afforded sharing a stage with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra, the first and only reggae artist to do that by our information. Number 3, The Harder They Come. The Harder They Come is actually a soundtrack for the internationally acclaimed Jamaican movie of the same name. The Harder They Come is a classic album for Jamaicans. The soundtrack includes contributions from Jimmy Cliff, Toots and the Maytals, and Desmond Dekker among others. All songs from the album are considered classics and definitive of the genre and era of music. Especially due to the movie, the soundtrack holds a special place to Jamaican and international listeners and is not only regarded as one of the best reggae albums in Jamaica, but best soundtracks and best reggae albums in the world. In 2021, the album was deemed culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant by the Library of Congress and selected for preservation in the National Recording Registry. Number 2, Sizzla, The Real Thing. When Sizzla released The Real Thing, Jamaica had to pause to appreciate it for months. This album was being played everywhere. This album crossed every genre, every demographic, every type of group was listening to this album. And it came at a time when reggae was in a transition phase of being the leading music in Jamaica, and yet still the young, the old, everyone was appreciating this album. Even though dancehall is missing something if one song from this album is not played. Sizzla, who is known for releasing albums as said before, as much as most artists release singles, took over reggae with this effort. Tracks like Simplicity, Solid as a Rock, Thank You Mama are staples in dancehall. Staples, and still will be there for a very long time. This earns Sizzla, The Real Thing, this spot on this countdown. At this point, I just want to stop and make mention of some of the albums that didn't make the list, but are some great albums just the same. Alright, here we go. Number 1. Buju Banton, Till Shiloh. Till Shiloh is one of the greatest albums ever created by a Jamaican artist worldwide. Buju Banton was transitioning from a hardcore dancehall music artist into a reggae artist, or somewhat of a hybrid. Many people were worried that this transition would not work, as Buju had successfully cemented his style of dancehall. His delivery, his voice, and his demeanor was rough, and many thought this direct, raunchy lyrics would be his best, and transitioning to reggae would not be as entertaining. Listen, when Till Shiloh dropped, all doubters were silenced. Buju Banton not only proved his transition was plausible, but also that there was much more to come, based on the level of insight he displayed and potential for growth in the genre. Definitely an album that Jamaicans love and appreciate, and will be around for a very long time. People will be playing this song all about everywhere, from now till thy kingdom come. Alright now, I want to hear what albums you thought should be on the list. Any albums you thought should be number one. Let us know in the comments. We like to hear from you.